Defiance rising. The stars watched in silence as humanity crawled from its cradle. They had seen civilizations rise and fall across the cosmos, but something about these humans was different. When Earth finally developed faster than light travel and joined the Galactic Council, the established species regarded humans with a mixture of curiosity and disdain, primitive newcomers to be managed, contained, and controlled. Captain Ilara Vega stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, Earth's most advanced warship and humanity's best-kept secret. The massive vessel hovered at the edge of the Sol system, hidden within the shadow of Neptune. Dark hull plates absorbed rather than reflected light, making the ship nearly invisible to conventional sensors. Unlike the gleaming, ornate vessels preferred by Council races, the Defiance was all hard angles and utilitarian design, a reflection of humanity's pragmatic approach to survival. Final diagnostic complete, Captain, reported Commander Thomas Chen, her executive officer. All systems operational, including the unofficial modifications. Ilara nodded. After 5 years of secret development, the Defiance was ready. The ship represented everything Earth's united government had quietly poured into ensuring humanity's continued independence in a galaxy that saw them as little more than useful primitives. The Council inspectors have arrived at Luna Station, Chen added. Admiral Kazuo requests your presence for the dog and pony show. Ilara suppressed a sigh. The Galactic Council had demanded regular inspections of Earth's military capabilities, ostensibly to ensure compliance with technological development restrictions placed on adolescent species. Set course for Luna, Commander. Let's go show our esteemed guests exactly what they expect to see. The Council delegation consisted of 3 representatives. High Executor Zolran of the Trevari, a tall, skeletal being whose translucent skin revealed pulsing organs beneath. Science Minister Pella, a Norvian whose tentacled face constantly shifted expressions. And Security Attaché Drav, a hulking Mendari whose armored exoskeleton clicked with each movement. Captain Vega. Admiral Kazuo nodded as she approached. I was just explaining to our distinguished guests that the Defiance is merely an upgraded patrol vessel designed entirely within Council-approved parameters. The lie was necessary. The Defiance contained innovations that violated at least 12 Council restrictions on developing species technology. Ilara had memorized the proper responses to divert attention from these facts. We're honored by your interest in our humble vessel, Ilara said with practiced deference, though I must apologize in advance for its rather basic capabilities. Zolran's inner organs pulsed with what Ilara recognized as skepticism. The energy signatures detected during your ship's trials suggest capabilities beyond standard patrol parameters. Ilara smiled politely. Our propulsion system is quite inefficient by Council standards. It requires substantially more power to achieve results your ships manage routinely, a disadvantage of our limited experience with interstellar engineering. Indeed, Admiral Kazuo added smoothly, we're still learning. Science Minister Pella's face tentacles writhed. We would appreciate a demonstration of your propulsion system. Of course, Ilara replied, though I should warn you that our methods may seem crude. The demonstration proceeded as planned. The engineering section they showed was real but limited. A conventional drive system that would indeed appear inefficient to advanced species. The quantum displacement engine, gravitational weaponry, and adaptive shielding remained hidden behind security protocols and physical barriers disguised as ordinary bulkheads. As they completed the tour in the ship's briefing room, Ilara's neural implant vibrated with an urgent message. She politely excused herself, stepping just outside the door to receive the transmission. Captain Vega, the face of Admiral Kazuo, appeared in her mind's eye via the secure neural link. This was the real Kazuo. The one accompanying the tour was his diplomatic double. We've received a distress signal from New Horizon Colony. The transmission was cut short, but we detected multiple unidentified vessels in the system before we lost contact. Ilara's jaw tightened. New Horizon was home to over 30,000 human colonists. Families seeking a fresh start on the frontier. Orders, sir. Officially, we're to file a complaint with the Council and wait for their investigation team. The Admiral's expression hardened. Unofficially, the Defiance needs to complete its final shakedown cruise, perhaps in the direction of New Horizon. Understood, Admiral. We'll depart immediately. Ilara returned to the delegation, her expression carefully neutral. I apologize, but we've received orders to begin our patrol route. Admiral Kazuo will see you back to your shuttle. High Executor Zolran's skin flushed with amber pulses. This is most irregular, Captain. Standard procedure for a new vessel, Admiral Kazuo interjected smoothly. We need to establish baseline performance metrics under actual patrol conditions. After the delegation departed, Ilara assembled her senior officers in the command center. The atmosphere was tense as she laid out the situation. New Horizon colony has gone dark. Last transmission indicated unknown vessels entering the system. The Council has been notified but won't dispatch investigators for at least 48 hours. Rules of engagement, asked Lieutenant Commander Jacobs, weapons officer. Protect our colonists at all costs, Ilara replied firmly. But we maintain the facade that we're operating within Council technological restrictions for as long as possible. Commander Chen frowned. Once we engage, there's no hiding what the Defiance can really do. Then we better make sure our first impression counts, Ilara said grimly. Navigation, set course for New Horizon. Maximum conventional speed until we're beyond Council observation range. 8 hours later, the Defiance dropped out of its quantum displacement field at the edge of the New Horizon system. The view screen filled with chaos. 5 enormous vessels of unknown configuration surrounded the colony world. Debris from destroyed defense satellites orbited the planet like a macabre ring. Life signs on the colony, Ilara demanded. Multiple distress beacons active, responded Lieutenant Park at sensors. Approximately 22,000 human life signs detected in the main settlement and outlying areas. Colony shields are at 29% and failing. And the attackers? Park frowned at his readings. No match in our database or shared Council records. Energy signatures suggest technology comparable to Tier 2 Council species. They're deploying smaller craft toward the surface. Landing parties. Ilara studied the tactical display. The unknown ships had established a blockade formation, with regular energy discharges targeting the weakening colony shields. Broadcast on all frequencies, she ordered. First Contact Protocol Alpha. After 3 minutes of broadcasting the universal greeting established by the Council, the only response was a new barrage against the colony shields. So much for diplomacy, Ilara said coldly. Tactical. Analyze their shield configuration and weapon systems. Lieutenant Commander Jacobs worked rapidly. Their shields operate on a dual-phase frequency. Standard Council weapons would require sustained bombardment to penetrate. And our weapons? A predatory smile crossed Jacobs' face. The gravitational lance should disrupt their shield harmonics immediately. Particle cannons can target propulsion and weapon systems once shields are down. Ilara nodded. Prepare for engagement. Helm, bring us in at attack vector Omega-4. Communications, record everything. I want evidence of their aggression and our proportional response for the inevitable Council inquiry. The Defiance accelerated toward the 5 alien vessels, still appearing to use conventional drives. The attackers finally noticed the approaching ship, 2 breaking off their assault on the colony to intercept this new threat. They're targeting us, Park reported. Energy weapons charging. Maintain course, Ilara ordered calmly. Shields at maximum, but continue to mask our true capabilities. The lead alien vessel fired a stream of plasma energy that would have crippled a standard patrol ship. The Defiance's shields absorbed the impact without a tremor. Minor fluctuation in shield grid 3, reported Chen. Compensating. No damage. The aliens fired again, this time both ships concentrating their attack. The Defiance shuddered slightly but continued on course. They're confused, Jacobs noted with satisfaction. Their sensors show we should be crippled by now. Ilara leaned forward. Let's introduce ourselves properly. Deploy gravitational lance, minimum dispersion. Target the lead vessel's propulsion section. A barely visible distortion erupted from the Defiance's forward section, a concentrated field of gravitational force that bent space itself between the ships. Where it struck the alien vessel, the shield flared brilliantly before collapsing entirely. The ship's rear section crumpled as if crushed by an invisible hand. Direct hit, Jacobs reported. Their main drive is offline. They're switching to auxiliary power. The second vessel immediately changed course, attempting to retreat to the protection of its companions. They're transmitting. Communications announced. Audio only. Ilara nodded. Let's hear it. A harsh, guttural language filled the bridge, translated moments later by the ship's AI. Unknown vessel, this territory has been claimed by the Krell Dominion. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed. Transmit response. Ilara ordered. Krell vessels, you are attacking a sovereign human colony protected under Galactic Council Statute 27B. Power down your weapons and withdraw from this system immediately. The reply came swiftly. The Council has no authority here. Your primitive vessel cannot stand against the might of the Dominion. Ilara smiled thinly. I think we've already demonstrated otherwise. You have 1 minute to cease all hostile actions and withdraw. The Krell response was to launch a swarm of smaller attack craft toward the Defiance. Fighter craft incoming, Park reported. Approximately 70 units. Deploy countermeasures, Ilara ordered. Jacobs, target the second capital ship. Full gravitational lance followed by particle cannon strikes to weapon systems only. The Defiance's point defense system activated, another technology officially beyond Earth's approved development level. Precisely targeted energy pulses intercepted the incoming fighters, disabling their systems without destroying them. The gravitational lance fired again, this time at full power. The second Krell ship's shields collapsed instantly, followed by precise particle beam strikes that surgically removed its weapon emplacements. On the view screen, the alien formation broke apart. The 3 undamaged ships abruptly accelerated away from New Horizon, abandoning their disabled companions. The remaining ships are powering up their FTL drives, Park reported. Let them go, Ilara decided. They'll carry the message. She turned to Chen. Status of the colony. Shield holding at 14%. Multiple casualties reported from preliminary bombardment, but settlement infrastructure remains largely intact. Their medical facilities are operational. Ilara nodded. Deploy our medical teams and engineering support. I want those shields reinforced and wounds treated. As the rescue operations began, Lieutenant Park called out in alarm. Captain, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the disabled Krell vessels. They appear to be activating some kind of dimensional technology. Scan the colony surface, Ilara ordered immediately, a cold feeling settling in her stomach. Park's face paled. Multiple teleportation signatures detected in the main settlement. They're taking people, Captain. The Krell are abducting our colonists. The bridge fell silent as the implications became clear. This wasn't a territorial dispute or resource grab. It was a slave raid. Get me visual on the colony center, Ilara commanded, her voice deadly calm. The view screen shifted to show armored Krell soldiers rounding up humans, men, women, and children, into groups, attaching devices to their necks, before they vanished in flashes of light. How many taken so far? Ilara asked. Nearly 700, Park replied grimly. Abduction rate is accelerating. Ilara's decision was immediate. Jacobs, target the disabled Krell vessel's teleportation systems with precision strikes. Chen, prepare boarding teams, full combat gear. We're going to retrieve our people. Captain, communications interrupted. We're receiving a transmission from a Galactic Council vessel entering the system. Of course they would arrive now, Ilara thought bitterly. On screen. The familiar face of security attaché Drav appeared. Captain Vega, you are in violation of multiple council directives. Stand down immediately and prepare for boarding and inspection. Ilara stood from her command chair, eyes flashing. Attaché Drav, I am currently responding to an ongoing attack against a human colony. Krell forces are abducting our citizens as we speak. I will not stand down. Drav's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. The Krell are a recognized independent power with whom the Council maintains profitable relations. Any disputes should be handled through proper diplomatic channels. They're taking our people. Ilara's voice cut like a knife. Unfortunate, Drav replied. Nevertheless, your unauthorized military action and use of restricted technology cannot be permitted. The Council ship will arrive in 30 minutes. Power down your weapons and prepare to surrender command. The transmission cut off. Ilara stood motionless for a moment, then turned to face her crew. It seems the Council is more concerned with maintaining the status quo than with justice, she said quietly. But I will not abandon our people to slavery while bureaucrats debate policy. She straightened her uniform. We have 30 minutes before the Council arrives. Let's make them count. Jacobs, disable those teleporters. Chen, get our people back. Everyone else, prepare for combat against Krell ground forces. Her eyes hardened. The Council wants to see what humanity is capable of. Let's show them. As her orders were carried out, Ilara gazed at the colony below. The Defiance would live up to its name today, and humanity would no longer be underestimated in the stars. Humanity unleashed. The Defiance hung in orbit above New Horizon, its dark hull absorbing starlight as Captain Ilara Vega watched the tactical display with grim determination. 27 minutes remained before the Council ship would arrive. 27 minutes to save as many human colonists as possible from Krell abduction. Teleportation systems targeted. Jacobs reported from weapons. Firing surgical strikes now. Precision particle beams lanced out from the Defiance, striking the disabled Krell vessels at exactly the right points to disrupt their dimensional technology. The energy signatures flickered and died. Teleportation systems offline. Park confirmed. But we've still got approximately 800 colonists aboard those vessels, plus Krell ground forces in the settlement. Boarding teams ready, Captain, Chen reported. 6 squads, full combat loadout. Ilara nodded. Deploy immediately. Priority is recovery of abducted colonists. Commander Chen, you have bridge command. I'm joining the ground team. Chen's eyes widened. Captain, protocol states. I know what protocol states, Ilara cut him off. But this is no longer just a military operation. It's a rescue mission, and I need to see firsthand what we're dealing with. Her expression softened slightly. Besides, if the Council is going to court-martial me, I might as well give them good reason. Minutes later, Ilara stood in the Defiance's deployment bay with Marine Captain Rice and 2 squads of combat personnel. Their armor was another of humanity's hidden developments, reactive exoskeletons that enhanced strength and speed while providing adaptive protection against various weapons. Rules of engagement, Rice asked as they boarded the dropship. Krell combatants are legitimate targets, Ilara replied, checking her pulse rifle. Subdue if possible, but prioritize colonist safety over all else. We need to understand why they're taking our people. The dropship launched, descending rapidly toward the colony's administrative center, where the largest concentration of Krell forces had been detected. 3 other dropships headed toward the disabled Krell vessels to recover the colonists already aboard. As they approached the planet's surface, the devastation became apparent. The colony's defensive grid had managed to protect the major infrastructure, but outlying areas showed significant damage from orbital bombardment. This wasn't just a slave raid, Ilara observed grimly. They were trying to destroy the colony's ability to call for help first. The dropship landed with a thud in the colony's central plaza. The doors hissed open, and Ilara led her team out into chaos. Krell soldiers, Massive reptilian humanoids in segmented armor were corralling terrified colonists. With their teleportation systems disabled, the aliens had resorted to herding their captives toward landing craft. "Captain," Lieutenant Park's voice came through her neural link. "We're detecting unusual energy signatures from the Krell. Some kind of neural technology." Before Ilara could respond, a Krell officer spotted their arrival. It barked orders in its guttural language, and a dozen soldiers turned to face the human forces, raising weapons. "Take cover," Rai shouted as energy blasts tore through the air. The battle was joined. Human Marines deployed in practiced formation, their advanced weapons cutting through Krell armor with precision. Ilara moved with her squad, using the enhanced capabilities of her exoskeleton to leap behind a Krell position, surprising 3 soldiers who were guarding a group of colonists. "Run for the dropship," she called to the civilians as she engaged the Krell. The alien nearest her snarled and lunged, faster than something its size should move. Ilara's combat implants kicked in, slowing her perception of time as she dodged the attack and fired 3 precise shots into joints in the creature's armor. As the battle progressed, Ilara noticed something disturbing. The Krell weren't just fighting to keep their captives. They were specifically targeting younger colonists, particularly those who showed signs of neural implants. "Park," she called over the comm. "Scan the Krell ships. What's in their cargo holds besides our people?" There was a pause before Park responded, his voice troubled. "Captain, I'm detecting large quantities of advanced neural technology. Processing units, data cores, implant materials." Ilara ducked behind a fallen column as energy blasts chipped away at the stone. A horrifying realization dawned on her. They're not just taking slaves. They're harvesting neural tissue and implant interfaces. Human brain matter integrated with technology, Park confirmed. It appears they're using it to enhance their own systems. Rage filled Ilara, cold and focused. "All teams, update objectives. We're not just rescuing colonists. We're shutting down a harvesting operation. Gather all evidence you can." In orbit, Commander Chen coordinated the boarding actions on the disabled Krell vessels. The Defiance's teams moved efficiently through the alien ships, encountering scattered resistance as they located and freed the human captives. What they found in the processing chambers turned even hardened soldiers pale. Medical equipment designed to extract neural tissue and interface technology from living subjects. "We've recovered 732 colonists," Chen reported to Ilara. "Many are injured but stable. We've also secured their research data and biological samples." On the ground, Ilara's team had cornered the remaining Krell forces in the colony's administrative building. With their extraction plan thwarted, the aliens had barricaded themselves with hostages. 5 minutes until Council arrival. Communications warned through her neural link. Ilara assessed the situation rapidly. "Rise, take your squad around the east entrance. I'll approach from the front as negotiator. The rest provide covering fire if needed." "Negotiator?" Rise questioned. "These monsters were planning to harvest our people's brains. And I want at least one of them alive to testify." Ilara replied coldly. "The Council needs to see exactly what they've been ignoring." She approached the building alone, weapon lowered but ready. "Krell Commander," she called out. "Your ships are disabled. Your forces defeated. Release the hostages, and you will be treated according to galactic law." A harsh voice responded in translated galactic standard. "You know nothing, human. Your species is merely resource. The Council understands this. The Council may turn a blind eye, but humanity will not," Ilara replied. "Release our people now, or we will take them." The Krell commander emerged, nearly 3 meters of armored reptilian fury. "Your primitive weapons can't." Ilara moved with enhanced speed, her exoskeleton blurring as she closed the distance and struck with precisely calculated force. The Krell commander crashed to the ground, neural disruptors from her gauntlet scrambling its nervous system. "You were saying?" she asked the paralyzed alien before signaling Rais to secure the hostages. "Council ship entering atmosphere. came the warning in her ear. "They're landing 2 kilometers east of your position." Ilara nodded to herself. Perfect timing. 30 minutes later, Ilara stood in the colony's partially damaged council chamber, across from a delegation of Galactic Council representatives. High Executor Zolran, Science Minister Pella, and Security Attaché Drav regarded her with expressions ranging from outrage to calculation. Behind her stood Commander Chen and Captain Rice, while Marines guarded the captured Krell commander. "Captain Vega," Zolran began, his translucent skin pulsing with angry red patterns, "you have violated no fewer than 14 Council restrictions on technological development. You have engaged in unauthorized military action against a recognized independent power. The penalties for these actions are severe." "With respect, Executor," Ilara replied, her voice steady, "I acted to protect a human colony from an unprovoked attack. When we discovered the true nature of that attack, intervention became even more imperative." She gestured to a display showing the evidence recovered from the Krell ships, the neural harvesting equipment, the biological samples, the research data. The Krell weren't just taking slaves. They were harvesting human neural tissue and implant technology to enhance their own systems. Science Minister Pella's tentacles writhed uncomfortably. "These are serious allegations, Captain." "They are facts, Minister," Ilara countered. "Facts supported by evidence and testimony, including from the Krell commander himself." The restrained Krell hissed. The arrangement was approved. The Council granted access to human frontier colonies for research purposes. A heavy silence fell over the room. Zolran's skin blanched to a pale yellow. Security Attaché Drav's mandibles clicked rapidly in what Ilara recognized as alarm. "Is this true?" Ilara asked quietly. "Did the Council authorize the harvesting of human beings?" "Not precisely," Pella admitted reluctantly. "Certain research agreements were established with the Krell Dominion. They expressed interest in human neural interfacing technology, and arrangements were made for limited access to frontier data." "Limited access to data," Ilara repeated coldly. "Not people, not children." "The specifics were left to lower administrative levels," Zolran said dismissively. "Regardless, Captain, your actions and your ship's capabilities remain in violation of Council law." "Perhaps we should discuss this privately," Drav suggested, mandibles twitching nervously. "Without the recording devices currently active in this chamber." Ilara smiled without warmth. "I'm afraid that won't be possible, Attaché. You see, everything that has transpired here, from the initial attack to this very conversation, has been transmitted in real time to Earth's Central Command, and by now to every human settlement and embassy throughout Council space." The Council representatives froze. "You see," Ilara continued, "while the Defiance itself may have been a secret, its communication capabilities were not. The quantum entanglement network linking all human territories cannot be blocked or intercepted. The truth is already spreading among your own populations as well." A human aide rushed into the chamber. "Captain Vega." Multiple ships dropping out of FTL at the edge of the system. Park's voice came through her neural link. "Captain, we're detecting a massive Krell fleet, 17 capital ships and support vessels. They're on an intercept course." Ilara turned back to the Council representatives. "It seems the Krell Dominion doesn't appreciate having their harvest interrupted. What is the Council's position now? Will you stand with humanity against this threat, or continue to look the other way?" The three representatives exchanged glances. "We must consult with the full Council," Zolran hedged. "There's no time for that," Ilara stated flatly. "The Krell will be here within the hour. I need to know, are you with us or against us?" "The Council cannot officially sanction military action without proper procedure," Drav insisted. Ilara nodded, having expected this response. "Then I suggest you evacuate to a safe distance. The Defiance will handle this threat to our colony." 1 ship against 17. Pella's tentacles twisted in disbelief. "Even with your advanced technology, you cannot prevail." "Watch us," Ilara said simply, then turned to Chen. Commander, return to the Defiance. Prepare for combat against multiple capital ships. And you, Captain? Chen asked. I'll join you shortly. First, I need to ensure the colony's evacuation procedures are underway. She glanced at the Council representatives. Your ship is welcome to assist with evacuating civilians. After Chen departed, Ilara approached the still-restrained Krell commander. Your reinforcements are coming, but they won't find what they expect. She leaned closer. Tell me, does your fleet know that we've discovered your neural harvesting operation? That evidence has already spread throughout Council space. The Krell's vertically slitted eyes narrowed. It matters not. The Council are cowards who will do nothing. And your ship, impressive as it may be, cannot stand against our fleet. Perhaps, Ilara conceded. But you should know something about humans. We don't fight like the Council races. We don't announce our capabilities or boast about our weapons. Her voice dropped to a whisper. The Defiance isn't our only secret, Commander. 40 minutes later, Ilara stood on the bridge of the Defiance as the massive Krell fleet approached in attack formation. The Council ship had retreated to the edge of the system, ostensibly to observe and report, but effectively abandoning the human colony to its fate. Status report, Ilara ordered. Colony evacuation proceeding, Park reported. 70% of civilians relocated to underground shelters. The rest are being transported to the far side of the planet. Weapons systems, she asked Jacobs. Gravitational lance at full capacity. Particle cannons charge. Missile systems loaded with standard and specialized payloads. Ilara nodded. And our surprise. Chen smiled slightly. In position and awaiting your command. Open a channel to the Krell fleet, Ilara ordered. A harsh, reptilian face appeared on the view screen. A Krell admiral, its scales adorned with ceremonial markings. Human vessel, you have interfered with Dominion operations and damaged our ships. Surrender the colony and yourself for proper adjudication, or be destroyed. This is Captain Ilara Vega of the UES Defiance. Your forces attacked a sovereign human colony and attempted to abduct our citizens for neural harvesting. We will not surrender. Withdraw from this system immediately. The Krell Admiral's scales flushed with color. You have one primitive warship. We have 17. Your defiance is illogical. Is it? Ilara asked calmly. You might want to check your long-range sensors again. Confusion crossed the alien's features, followed by alarm as new information reached him. This is impossible. Your species does not possess cloaking technology. As I said, Ilara smiled. The Defiance isn't our only secret. Throughout the system, space seemed to ripple and distort as 5 additional human warships materialized from perfectly maintained stealth fields, technology supposedly centuries beyond humanity's development level. Each vessel was smaller than the Defiance, but no less lethal, positioned strategically around the Krell fleet. Allow me to introduce the rest of Task Force Sentinel, Ilara said. While the Council thought we were building one experimental ship, we constructed 6. The Defiance is merely the largest. The Krell Admiral's composure cracked. The Council will not permit this level of military expansion from a probationary species. The Council permitted the harvesting of human beings, Ilara countered icily. I think we're beyond concerns about their permission. Now shall we discuss terms of your withdrawal, or would you prefer a demonstration of capabilities the Council doesn't yet know we possess? The battle that followed would be recorded in the annals of galactic history. When the Krell Admiral rejected withdrawal, the human task force engaged with coordinated precision that shocked observers. Gravitational weapons warped space around Krell vessels. Quantum phase torpedoes bypassed shields entirely, and targeting systems operated with impossible accuracy. 3 Krell ships were disabled in the opening salvos. 2 more attempted to reach New Horizons' surface, only to be intercepted by atmospheric fighters launched from the colony itself. Yet another hidden human defense. The Council ship, despite its supposed neutrality, recorded everything. As the battle progressed, transmissions of the engagement, along with evidence of the Krell harvesting operation and Council complicity, spread through the galactic information networks. On countless worlds, citizens watched in shock as the supposedly primitive humans demonstrated military technology that rivaled or exceeded that of the established powers. Within 2 hours, the Krell fleet was in retreat, leaving behind 7 disabled vessels and thousands of captured crew. The Council ship cautiously approached the Defiance once more. Captain Vega, High Executor Zolran's voice was subdued. The full Council has convened an emergency session. Your presence is requested to discuss the situation. Funny how quickly bureaucracy can move when properly motivated, Ilara remarked. Very well, I'll attend, but not as a defendant. Humanity will be presenting our own evidence and demands. The quantum entanglement network had done its work. Across Council space, protests were erupting as citizens learned of the Krell harvesting operations and the tacit approval of certain Council members. Species that had long accepted Council rule without question were suddenly demanding answers. 1 week later, Ilara stood before the full Galactic Council in their grand chamber on Axiom Prime. The massive amphitheater was filled to capacity, with representatives from every Council race and observers from independent worlds. Captain Ilara Vega, the Council primate intoned, "You stand before this body accused of violations of technological restrictions, unauthorized military action, and disruption of established galactic order." With respect, primate, Ilara replied, her voice carrying through the chamber, "I stand before this body as a representative of humanity, a species that defended itself when this Council failed in its primary duty to protect its members." She activated a holographic display, showing the evidence collected from New Horizon. The Krell Dominion, with the knowledge of at least 3 Council representatives, was harvesting human neural tissue and technology. They destroy our outposts, abducted our citizens, and planned to process them for parts. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Yes, humanity has developed technology beyond the artificial restrictions placed upon us. We did so because history, Earth's history and galactic history, has taught us that depending solely on others for protection is a fatal mistake. The events at New Horizon have proven us right. The Council primate leaned forward. What precisely are you proposing, Captain? First, a full investigation into Council complicity with the Krell harvesting operations. Second, an immediate revision of the technological restriction system, which clearly serves to keep emerging species dependent rather than to guide their development. And third, recognition of humanity's sovereign right to defend its territories and citizens by any means necessary. A representative from a minor Council race stood. And if we refuse these demands, Ilara's expression remained composed. Then humanity will withdraw from the Council and establish its own alliances with like-minded species. The Quantum Entanglement Network has already received messages from 17 worlds interested in such arrangements. The chamber erupted in shouts and arguments. The Council primate called for order repeatedly. "You would shatter millennia of galactic stability over one incident," demanded Zolran. "One incident?" Ilara questioned sharply. "Our intelligence suggests the Krell have conducted similar operations on at least 6 frontier worlds belonging to other developing species. We've shared this intelligence with the affected species. This isn't just about humanity. It's about a fundamental flaw in how the Council operates." The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, a venerable representative of the Elshani, one of the oldest Council species, rose slowly to her feet. "I have observed this body for 3 centuries," she said, her melodic voice carrying effortlessly. "In that time, I have witnessed the admission of 27 new species, all placed under similar restrictions. I have watched as their development was carefully managed, ostensibly for their own good." She turned her ancient eyes toward Ilara. "Perhaps it is time we acknowledge that our system has become one of control rather than guidance." More representatives began to speak up, many from middle-tier species that had once been subject to the same restrictions humanity now challenged. The momentum was shifting. The council primate raised a hand for silence. It seems this matter requires more consideration than anticipated. We will recess to deliberate on humanity's proposals. 3 days of intense negotiation followed. The political landscape of the galaxy shifted as humanity stood firm, backed by evidence that could not be dismissed and military capabilities that could not be ignored. Species that had long accepted their place in the council hierarchy began to question, to demand, to assert. When the council reconvened, the chamber was subdued. The primate spoke with careful formality. After extensive deliberation, this council acknowledges that reforms are necessary. A special commission will be established to investigate the Krell harvesting operations and any council involvement. The technological restriction system will be reviewed and revised with input from all member species. He paused, clearly uncomfortable with the next words. And humanity's sovereign defense rights are recognized, with the understanding that such capabilities will be used responsibly. It wasn't a complete victory, but it was a beginning. As Ilara prepared to depart, Zolran approached her privately. "You have changed things, Captain," he said, inner organs pulsing with complex patterns. "Not all will appreciate these changes." "Change was inevitable," Ilara replied. "Better it comes from open discussion than continued deception." "Perhaps," the executor conceded. "But remember this, in challenging the established order, you have placed humanity at the center of galactic politics. Many eyes will now watch your species very carefully." Ilara smiled slightly. They should have been watching carefully all along. Aboard the Defiance, returning to Earth with news of their diplomatic victory, Ilara stood once more at the viewport. The stars no longer seemed cold and distant. They were possibilities, challenges, futures. Commander Chen joined her, offering a data tablet, the revised council charter, fresh from Axiom Prime. They moved surprisingly quickly once they realized we weren't bluffing. "Fear can be motivating," Ilara observed, "but so can hope." At least 7 other developing species have now filed formal protests against their restriction levels. "Do you think the council will actually change?" Chen asked. "They've already begun to," Ilara replied. "Not because they wanted to, but because they had to." The truth about the Krell operations broke something fundamental in the public's trust. The old guard can't put that back together without making real concessions. She turned from the viewport to face her executive officer. "What happens next depends on us as much as them. Humanity has proven we won't be underestimated or controlled. Now we need to prove we deserve the place we've claimed." As the Defiance entered Earth's solar system, news of their arrival spread rapidly. The secret of humanity's true capabilities was now galactic knowledge, and Earth's citizens greeted the revelation with pride and determination. They had stood against the darkness and emerged stronger, not just for themselves, but for all species who sought true equality among the stars. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would humanity.